Welcome to the Explore Real Estate Show. I am James Boslaw, your Fredericksburg area realtor and vacation rental investor. And this show is all about real estate in the Fredericksburg area, the Fawn Lake Community, and the vacation rental space. I help people buy and sell homes because I believe that everyone should grow their wealth as they live in or own a home that they love. I also believe that you should feel confident when you are buying or selling a home, and confidence comes when you are well educated and informed, and that's what this show is all about. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Explore Real Estate Show, where in today's episode, I'm going to break down the real estate statistics for the Fawn Lake community in the month of January. So let's dive right into today's episode. If you listened to my last episode regarding Fawn Lake, what you'll know is that I took a look back at 2023. We looked at the entire year's worth of data, and we summarized what was going on here in the Fawn Lake community in all of last year. But what I indicated at the end of that episode is that the very first few months in 2024 would be very telling for the direction that the real estate market is going to go in right here in the Fawn Lake community. So I'm excited to dive into today's data. We can pick up on a few indicators here, but I'll have some caveats with that as well. So let's take some time to dive right in and talk about the same metrics that we typically focus on, as well as a few additional ones just to provide more perspective. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the overall sold dollar volume. And as we do so in the Fawn Lake community, we'll notice that we are down about 34% in January of 2024 than we were in January of 2023. So once again, there was just less activity this year in January than there was of January of last year in 2023. The average sales price actually did go up about 7.5%. And before we get excited about that, I want to share the next statistics, which is that the median sold price actually went down about 19%. Now, you might be wondering, how is it possible for the average sales price to go up, but the median sales price to go down? Well, obviously, we're looking at two different things here. There was only 3 units sold in January of 2024. And as we look at the average, we're taking the total sale of those 3 homes, dividing it by 3, and that's obviously our average. Whereas in the median, we're looking at what the middle home sold for and what that price was for the middle home. So there was a very, very expensive home that did close in January of 2024, and that brought up the average sales price. But the median sales price was the middle number, the home that sold in that middle price range, and that was down about 19%. Going back to units sold, there was only 3 homes that sold in January of 2024 versus 5 homes that sold in January of 2023. So we see a 40% reduction in the units that were sold here in our community. So all in all, January was kind of a quiet month here in Fawn Lake. The average days on market went way, way up, and that's because one of the homes that sold in this January was on the market for quite some time. So whereas in 2023, the average days on market for a home was 5 days, here in January of 2024, we're seeing that the average days on market was 93. And before we put too much weight into that number, because that is definitely not a normal number for a home being on the market here in Fawn Lake, we do need to remember that there was only 3 homes that sold. One of the homes that sold was on the market for quite some time, which brought that average days on market up. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at some other numbers that I think are a little bit more telling, because I think the data for January in Fawn Lake this year is a little deceiving. We don't have a large sample to pull from, which can oftentimes lead to misleading stats. And so what I want to do is I want to look at 3 more areas which I think provide a better and clearer perspective. So the first thing that we're going to look at is closed sales in January. I told you before, but we had 3 homes that sold in January of 2024 right here in Fawn Lake. Well, if you look at the 5-year average, the last 5 years, what were the average sales in January? Guess what? It is also 3 homes in the month of January. That is our 5-year average. So what we're seeing is, yes, there's less activity this January than there was in the previous January. But when you take a look at a 5-year span, we're at about what's normal in that 5-year span. Next, what we're going to look at is active listings. Now, this is really, really important, and I want you to really pay attention to this. Right now, in January of 2024, there are 25 active listings in the Fawn Lake community. Now, if you compare that to a 5-year average, in Fawn Lake, the active listings 5-year average is actually 17. So what we're seeing is there are about 8 homes more on average that are listed currently right now than what would be normal over the span of 5 years, which means that there's more options for buyers. So buyers, if you're looking at purchasing a home, you now have more options. Sellers, if you're looking to sell a home, you now have to wait a little bit longer for your home to go under contract because there's more options out there for buyers to choose from. This is also leading us to see that the values of homes are not appreciating as much as maybe those who own a home would like. But if you are a buyer, this does present some opportunity for you, and that is something to make note of. Now, the last stat that I want to look at, and this is also very, very important, is the months of supply right here in the Fawn Lake community. And as we do that, in January of 2024, we have 6.3 months of supply. So months of supply is the amount of inventory that you have and the demand looking to scoop up that inventory. And as we do so in January of 2024, we're at 6.3 months of supply. That is officially a buyer's market. When you tip the scales to anything over 5 or 6 months as far as the supply goes, what that means is it is now a buyer's market and not a seller's market. Buyers have more options. They have more leverage. Oftentimes, buyers are making offers on homes that are less than the asking price. This is often the case when the months of supply goes up. Now, the 5-year average in the Fawn Lake community in the month of January is 3.6 months of supply. So we're talking about almost double the 5-year average in January is our current months of supply. So if you own a home in Fawn Lake and you are looking to sell, what you have to do is you have to realize that there are more options. There's more homes. There's fewer buyers, which means that your home is going to be on the market for a longer period of time. You might have to have some price reductions. You might go under contract for less than asking price, depending on what you list your home for, of course. But if you're a seller, you just need to be mindful that the scales have officially tipped, and this has now become more of a buyer's market. And if you are listening to this and you're looking to move into the Fawn Lake community, there's probably not been a better time in the last 5 years than right now. What we're seeing is that there's less competition. There's more options, more homes to choose from, and you might be able to have some leverage when it comes to making an offer on a home that you are interested in. So there are definitely more opportunities on the buying side than on the selling side. However, I do want to remind everyone that owns a home in here, I just want to remind you that for about 13 plus straight years, you have experienced appreciation in your home. So though things are calming down as far as the values of homes here in the neighborhood, last year, if you listen to my last episode, you'll know that the average and median sales prices did go down here in the Fawn Lake community, minimally, but they did go down. But for the previous 13 years to that, we were seeing appreciation every single year. So if you own a home in here, the chances are that you still have great equity in your home and you've experienced the benefits of a lot of appreciation over the course of a long time. So if life circumstances bring you to the point where you are looking to sell your home, we will have to reset the expectations for what it looks like to sell, but there's a very good chance that you will make a lot of money because you have a lot of equity stored up in the value of your home. So that's the newest data that just came hot off the press for the Fawn Lake community in the month of January. And I just want to remind you of a few things. I am so incredibly passionate about bringing this data to you because what I want to do is I want to make sure that you are educated and informed about what's going on in the real estate market in our community. Because I believe when you're educated and informed, it just allows you the opportunity to make the best decision for you and your family, whether you're looking to buy, whether you're looking to sell, or whether you just own a home and you just want to know what's going on with your asset, with your home. And so I'm very passionate to bring this data to you every single month. We are going to be watching the data very closely because I think that the first few months of this year are going to dictate what direction we go in throughout the year. But things can change every month. And so we're going to be tracking this very closely. and I'm very passionate about doing this. I also want to remind you that if you are listening to this on YouTube, please go ahead and click subscribe. What that will do is allow you to stay up to date on my newest episodes, so you can always be kept in the loop with what's going on here in our community. And if you're listening to this on Apple's podcast, make sure to follow the show. That way you can also be kept up to date with the newest episodes and stay educated and informed. Last but definitely not least, if you have any more questions about our market, whether you're looking to buy or sell, or you have any sort of questions regarding this, make sure to visit me at my website at explorewithjb.com, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can and help you with whatever it is that you're looking for. So I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week, and we'll catch you on the next episode.